Hello everyone, you're on the Player Review channel. In today's video, you'll find out whether you need Matthaus, Abily, or last year's legendary Sawa in your squad. We'll dive into their differences, strengths, and weaknesses, and ultimately reveal which one we chose. By the way, in this video, we'll compare all three cards side by side with specific examples to make it more dynamic and engaging for you. First off, all the cards were tested in different positions and formations, so don't get too caught up on seeing Matthaus as a CDM in this setup. Let's start with Matthaus, who comes with an average body type, stands 174 centimeters tall, and has 4-star weak foot and skill moves. For chemistry styles, we recommend Engine or Shadow. His talents include strong defensive and speed-related playstyles. Interestingly, Matthaus can play as a central defender, which we'll discuss in the video, but his best role is as a box-to-box midfielder. Next up is available for half the price in an SBC. Camille has an average body type, stands 168 centimeters tall, and has 4-star skill moves and 5-star weak foot. She works well with Engine, Hunter, or Shadow. Notably, she boasts finesse shots and top-tier golden playstyles for passing. She's best suited as a playmaker in a midfield 3 or as a calm playmaker. Finally, we have the legendary Sawa, with a lean body type standing 165 centimeters tall and the same 4-star skill moves and 5-star weak foot. Shadow is the recommended style. Her talents include top-tier passing and several other useful playstyles. Like Abily, Sawa shines as a playmaker or box-to-box in a midfield 3, or as a cam in a shadow striker role. Let's start with Matthaus and his effectiveness as a box-to-box midfielder. He frequently joins the attack, making it easy to set him up for a pass followed by a powerful shot in the box. As for Abily, when positioned as the third midfielder, she practically lives in the box during prolonged build-ups, thanks to her role as an attack-oriented playmaker. Let's be clear, this role works brilliantly in setups with 3 midfielders. Sure, your playmaker won't contribute much defensively, but in attack, they'll shine at 200%. As you may have noticed, Abily is already part of our main squad. This means she's been thoroughly tested, not just for 5 loan matches. Honestly though, this wasn't just for the sake of the review. We genuinely loved her during the loan period and couldn't resist adding her to the team. That said, if you have a million coins to spare, Sawa could also fit the role. At least as a playmaker or box-to-box, she's just as good. Though of course, she has her nuances, which we'll discuss later. For now, let's highlight Sawa's similarly quick runs into the box and equally great finishing, thanks to her shot power. Even though her base shot power is a modest 80, it doesn't need much boosting, especially after the recent patch that improved finishing inside the box. When it comes to long shots with 90 base stats, her trivillas in time finishing are highly reliable. Additionally, her 5-star weak foot ensures consistently high-quality long-range strikes. For example, take this clip of a long shot into the far corner. Switching back to Abily, her long shots are even more lethal, with insane base stats allowing her to punish goalkeepers from further distances. This naturally applies to her trivillas as well, which are stronger and more consistent, so when it comes to long shots, Abily edges out Sawa. Moreover, if you're using time finishing or our favorite precision shot setting, you'll be able to score finesse shots, even with her weak foot. This talent sets Abily apart from the other 2 cards and truthfully is one of the main reasons she joined our team. Another bonus is her dead ball talent, which is definitely handy for corner kicks. As for Matthaus, he has plenty to offer, particularly with his Power Shots Plus, which remain incredibly dangerous if you've mastered them. These shots are still tricky to execute but effective when pulled off, though scoring from distance has become harder. Additionally, the animations now take slightly longer to charge, making them easier to block, especially compared to how fast they used to be. However, Matthaus is in no way inferior to the girls when it comes to regular long shots or raw shot power. What sets him apart is his physical presence and, interestingly, his pace with the ball. He boasts a great explosive burst and excellent top speed, making it fairly easy for him to outrun opponents. This, combined with his box-to-box role, makes it worth pushing him forward into attacks. First, he'll easily outrun his opponents, and second, he'll quickly retreat if things go wrong thanks to his pace and role. Meanwhile, Abily and Sawa aren't exactly slow, but lag slightly behind Matthaus in terms of speed, though it's not a critical gap. What is more critical is their physicality and defensive abilities. Abily, for instance, clearly lacks defensive presence. Sure, you can manually tackle or intercept, but her card has 0 automatic defensive contributions. She rarely intercepts balls or wins them back in defensive situations. Naturally, this isn't just a problem of talents, it's her playmaker role, which isn't designed for defensive work. So if you plan to use her in midfield rather than as a cam, make sure to pair her with a defensively focused player in a 3 midfielder formation. Sawa, on the other hand, is more promising. Many of you might remember how aggressive and tenacious she was last year, especially her SBC card. This year, she is slightly weaker, but retains her tenacity. So Sawa isn't useless defensively, and you can even play her in a 2 midfielder setup. Her aggression is still excellent, and she quickly reacts after losing the ball, often winning it back just by bumping into the opponent. Her interceptions are slightly better than Abily's, though still not amazing. However, Sawa is simply faster off the ball, allowing her to close down spaces more effectively during the opponent's passes. This is largely thanks to her quick step talent, which is incredibly useful for off-the-ball movement, a fact that anyone who's used an evolved Guendouzi will attest to. As you know, in EAFC 25, the rewards for the Weekend League are awesome, which means that the game has become much harder to play. Our boosters will help you to get the best rewards. Write in, because the number of spots is limited, and don't forget that we also sell coins at a cheap price. All links in the description. And now, back to Matthaus, who also has quick step and, more importantly, silver interception. Let's just say his interceptions are noticeably better than those of Sawa or Abily, so if you really want, you can play him as a CDM. We tested him in that role briefly and he performed decently. However, his card is clearly meant to play box to box, given his attacking effectiveness. Of course, even Matthaus occasionally miscontrols strong passes, especially when sprinting, but that's just the norm. Plus, his sharp acceleration and silver anticipate often compensate for such situations. However, these talents and his interceptions would be better suited to a taller player. So, once again, we recommend using him as a box-to-box midfielder. And now, for a bit of experimentation, testing Matthaus as a central defender. Honestly, it's not as bad as you'd think. Sure, his height and lack of a bulky body type are issues, but his quickness makes up for it. This option could come in handy if you switch to a 5 at the back formation late in a match. By the way, Matthaus's left stick is more than decent, especially with engine. If he had better passing talents and a suitable role, he could easily play as a playmaker. Even without that, good left stick control is always valuable in midfield. His passing is solid, and he has a flair for lofted passes. However, when it comes to challenging driven passes, he can struggle, even with the recent patch that improved passing. Plus, he lacks incisive pass. This is where Abily shines. When we said earlier that we wouldn't have completed her SBC without her finesse talent, we weren't entirely truthful. Her golden incisive passes are absolutely mesmerizing. Abily can deliver them from any angle, off the turn, from the air, and so on. Her golden talent also enhances lofted passes, so don't worry about the absence of a lofted pass talent in her traits list. Moreover, it helps with long crossfield switches, not just passes into space. Most importantly, golden incisive passes allow for cutting through defenses with one-touch passes. All you need is good timing and awareness of player runs. Or you can curve a pass to a more distant target while bypassing nearby defenders, like in this clip. Simply put, this is the most crucial talent for a playmaker. As for tiki-taka, it's less relevant post-patch but still helpful for any type of passing. This means you don't have to rely solely on incisive passes in one-touch play. Finally, let's talk about left stick dribbling. Sawa outshines Abily here. In fact, Abily doesn't even have a significant edge over Matthaus in this department. After testing her, we felt the need to apply engine, which makes her much more enjoyable, especially as a cam. But we still recommend using L1 for sharper moves. Meanwhile, Sawa's movements with L1 and her left stick are downright insane. Her dribbling feels as good as last year's Sawa. So if dribbling is your top priority and you have the coins, we'd go for Sawa over Abily, especially since her golden incisive passes are just as good. Sure, she lacks finesse shots, but her defensive contributions, thanks to her aggression and tenacity, are far more significant. Overall, we'd choose Sawa over Matthaus. While Matthaus is more useful defensively and versatile in terms of positions, he falls short when it comes to left stick dribbling. And this is always important for playmakers or box-to-box midfielders, rather than classic CDMs. But like many of you, we mostly play with untradeable players, despite having enough coins. So, in the end, we'll sell Sawa. After all, we already have plenty of players for her position, but if she caught your eye, feel free to grab her. Whether it's our Joker version or the one with 5-star skill moves, both are excellent and strongly reminiscent of last year's version. So, is it worth completing Matthaus's SBC at this stage, especially since he's available on the market? Honestly, probably not. 2 million coins worth of fodder isn't easy to come by. You might argue that 2 million coins aren't easy to come by either, and you'd be right. But still, you can easily get by without Matthaus, especially if you already have free Zidane or any other midfielder who, most importantly, you personally enjoy using. If you like your current player, you don't need Matthaus. After all, his card isn't exactly extraordinary. The same applies to Abily. Yet, we still completed her SBC, mainly because she's unique and unavailable on the market. Plus, her qualities as a playmaker really won us over. And yes, she also works well as a cam. So if you're interested in her and not bothered by the weaknesses we discussed, go ahead and complete her SBC. It's reasonably priced and the card is solid. If you have any questions or want us to compare these players with your cards, leave them in the comments. We'll do our best to respond quickly. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss timely reviews. We won't reveal detailed ratings here. Let's leave a bit of mystery. You can find them tomorrow in our Twitter. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.